Okay, folks. Let me try. I'm trying to get a couple of them out here. Now, you hear all this talk. If you're into this end of the game, you see, where's Vladimir? How come we don't see him? Where's Medvedev? How come we only see him on closed circuit TV or state run TV, which is RT? Russia Today. That's what RT stands for. You got RT America. Yeah, that's Russian news that's whittled and chopped to serve up to the American. Do you be surprised how many people do not know that RT stands for Russia Today? You'd be surprised. But anyway, where is he? How come he ain't this, that, and other? You have more people worrying about how come they haven't seen Vladimir Putin and Dmitry Medvedev on TV than they own president that they voted for, and they're complaining about the work what he's doing. Why didn't vote for Biden to do this? I wanted him to clean the water and scrub the air and give us rainbow people a voice. What are you talking about? The only ones that got a voice and can say whatever the hell they want to without it with no repercussion is the rainbow community, and the ones that then decided to bat from the other side of the plate, which is also part of the rank. Look, let me say this clean. I'm trying to think of a clean way to say this. Nah, matter of fact, I'll save that one for a whole deal there. I'll probably have to put it on Rumble and just put a link over here leading you to it, because you're not allowed to have your own opinion that goes counter to what the what the unicorn piss and pixie fairy dust community thinks. But anyway, let's get this piece right here. Vladimir Putin is dangerous and must be feared. Da. Look, I done made my position on this proxy war. Now, even though this story don't have anything to do with that, but sometimes the enemy of your enemy is your friend. That phrase has been around that phrase outdates anyone that's alive right now. Anyone. So it's nothing new. So that means this will probably be the way the world is probably from now until whenever. So let's get this. And I think it's a little video in here as well. Fear raced through the mind of NC. Oh, and this story touched me because I was in Germany. My unit was on patrol. It was our turn. We were on rotation out of Camp Hof to Fulda. And the Cold War soldiers, they know what Camp Hof is. Anybody else, they can look at, if they feel so inclined, they can look it up. I posted pictures of myself and now if you knew, you ain't seen these, but the guys that's been around here for a while, I posted pictures that I've taken of myself, my soldiers and whatnot. Checkpoint Bravo, Fulda Gap, Camp Hof, Bamberg, Warner Barracks, the whole 9 yards. Stasi radio towers, East German military lookout post from our side of the border. I mean, I walk right up and I can touch and just touch the border post with your hand. Take two more steps and you're in East Germany, and I violated usurer and I done violated usurer regulations, and as well as our unit SOP for 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment. But anyway, 7th Corps Artillery, 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment, Bamberg, Germany, Warner Barracks. Okay. Yeah, I'm that old. Anyway, so I understand all this stuff because you want to talk about high alert. We were ready to pop anything and anybody that moved and wouldn't have gave it a second thought, but it didn't come to that. Let's go. Fear raced through the mind of a young Russian KGB operative on the night of 9 November 1998. He must be a soldier because that's the way we write dates. You write the day, the month, then the year. As the streets of East Berlin turned into chaos, Lieutenant Colonel Vladimir Putin sat in his office in East Berlin taking phone calls from operatives on the streets, explaining the Berlin Wall was coming down and there was no stopping the growing pandemonium. He watched terrified from his third floor office as protesters began tearing down the fence surrounding the KGB complex and breaking into buildings. He knew beyond a doubt his superiors in Moscow expected him to sacrifice his life to save the secret files of political deportations, murders, tortures, and other heinous crimes committed by the KGB and the feared East German police known as the Stasi. And let me tell you this, Stasi was feared. The Stasi was feared by everybody. Don't let nobody BS you. Okay? And I'll leave it at that. The problem was there were just a few low-ranking officers and file clerks in the building that could never hold back such an angry mob. Knowing the rioters had no firearms, well, that's one thing that differs us from them is because, they're not armed. All the communist socialist countries, they don't have firearm freedom like we have here in the majority of the United States, in the majority. Knowing the rioter, Putin put to work his skills of intimidation he had learned over the years, because y'all know he was a KGB agent. He walked into the yard brandishing his pistol. He told the angry throng the building was set with explosives and KGB operatives with automatic weapons were ready to repel any invasion of the building. Although it was November, sweat ran down his face as he stood his ground, unsure Putin was telling the truth. But knowing the KGB and the Stasi were capable of anything, oh yes, they have no problem with effing you up. The mob moved down the street towards other targets, probably the smartest thing they done all day. Okay. Being assigned to a new job in the Kremlin, Putin had a front row seat as he watched his beloved Russia begin to crumble, and it angered him. By the end of 1991, the great USSR disappeared from the face of the globe, and the United States President George Herbert Walker Bush was formally acknowledging the 12 new breakaway republics. I still remember that. And in essence, the breakaway republics literally tore the fabric of the Warsaw Pact. What's the Warsaw Pact? Y'all know what I'm going to say. Look it up. Warsaw Pact, PACT. Okay. People that knew Putin. See, I'm from a different world when it was still East and West Germany. I'm from the Cold War era. All the people and you want to talk about something that changed your outlook on the world. And it's that. Being assigned to the people that knew Putin state he went into a deep funk, stating over and over that every dream he had had for his blessed Soviet Union was now gone. However, it was the state of mind that helped Putin climb the political ladder. When Putin decided to run for president in 2000, old communist political hacks jumped at the chance to once again have a true KGB hardliner that believed in old Mother Russia back in the Kremlin. What's going on here? Breaking news, Ninja. Breaking news. What? Oh, it must be cycling through videos. It must be. Okay, let's go. We ain't got time for that. Sorry about your fire. Sorry about that. From the very beginning, Putin made no excuses when he stated the USSR must be rebuilt in his lifetime. Most people forget that in 1999, as Russian national security advisor, Putin arranged for Russian forces to enter Kosovo. Look, the Bosnian War. Wait, let me finish the paragraph. Forces to enter Kosovo, nearly creating a war with NATO. From that one incident, Putin learned a lot as to how the West would respond to such incursions. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback for this. That's cool, because everybody's entitled to their opinion, but they're not but we're not entitled to our truths. Opinions and truths are two totally different things. But anyway, I'll take the stand of saying this. In hindsight, and counter to what my brain was thinking then when President Bill Clinton, let the Kosovo, the Bosnian deal go forward. Slobodan Milosevic, much to my chagrin, he was actually right. What he said was going to happen, it sure as hell happened. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? You're going to have to look it up. There's something I can't do this in the couple of minutes it's going to take to do this. Sometimes you got to actually pick up some bricks on your own. That's my opinion. I'm quite sure a lot of people don't agree with my opinion. That's cool. I'm of the opinion, knowing what I know now, hell, knowing what I knew 10, 15 years ago, Slobodan Milosevic was right. Now, whether people think he went about it the right or wrong way, that's open for debate. But his end game, in my opinion, was correct. And then also, Helmut Kohl, I'm quite sure before he succumbed, he is like, damn. Because guess what? The old Western Germans, don't let nobody BS you. They missed the days they thought they wanted a unified Germany, but a whole bunch of people was trying to tell them, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because now you done mixed the capitalist Germany with the socialist Germany. And look at what you got. But anyway, you would have to live in Germany to probably understand what the heck I'm talking about. So, but anyway, for those that lived in Germany, former soldiers that's listening to the sound of my voice that lived in Cold War Germany, they know what I'm talking about. That was stationed anywhere in Western Europe during the Cold War. They know exactly what I'm talking about. So on the 18th of March 2014, Putin signed an annexation treaty with Crimean leaders taking control of the peninsula of the Ukraine. I skipped a part. He knew fully well that pulling old Russia back together could never be attained without first bringing Ukraine back under its umbrella, which is true. Ukraine had the natural resources. Ukraine is considered the breadbasket of Western Europe. Ukraine has the natural resources, manpower, and ports on the Black Sea that were essential for its plans. And plus, there's a Russian the submarine port there, and two naval battle stations in the Ukraine. And during the split, the Ukraine agreed to give Russia back its nuclear warheads, which they did. Okay. On 18th of March 2014, Putin signed an annexation treaty with Crimean leaders taking control of the peninsula from Ukraine. Immediately, Russian troops marched into Crimea, taking control of all major government operations. As soon as most Western nations condemned the annexation but did nothing to give Putin reason to fear any type of serious reprisals. But here's a lot of things. You can look at all the news stories where they're actually interviewing people back then. A lot of people wanted the Ukraine to go back under Soviet rule. A lot of Georgians didn't want Georgia to break away because we're on our own now. We don't have an umbrella. So when it rains, we get wet. But Georgia don't have the resources that Ukraine has. Estonia, Latvia, or, I covered that in other videos too. But anyway, throughout the winter, sorry about that. I can do this off the top of my head. Throughout the winter months, 2021 and 2022. I'm effed up today. Russia moved massive forces up to the Ukrainian border. Putin stated Ukraine was an integral part of Russia and must be taken, and that Ukraine was in need of demilitarization and denazification. On the last part, I ain't got no dog in that fight. I ain't even gonna argue it. I'll just shut up. Keep reading, dummy. On 24 February, Russian forces invaded Ukraine in blitzkrieg fashion, rolling over Ukrainian force and seizing large swaths of country. Glorious comrade, glorious news from the front. Da! However, this time the world reacted, sending Ukraine billions of dollars of lethal weaponry to not only stop but roll back Russia's forces, and to give money to the Ukraine to buy FTX Bitcoin, so FTX can take that Bitcoin money that was originally the American taxpayers' dollars and funnel it to the Democrat Party. Yay! They left that part out in the story. But don't worry, I got y'all covered. I'm the real hater translator. Cake AZZ knuckleheads. Regrettably, as Putin sees his dream being shattered by outside forces he cannot control, they will win in the end. He has ordered a scorched earth policy, destroying every piece of Ukraine's infrastructure. A scorched earth tactics is nothing new. Nothing new. Another tactic that's been used since recorded history. This is the real Putin we need to fear. I don't think so. But anyway, that's a long story too. A dangerous man that would much rather see the world dissolve around him than lose his radical dreams of power. Now, look, God, how can I say this? I'm not going to say it. This is the opinion of Gerry Field. I know who he is, whose column is published the second Sunday of the month. He writes about issues from a conservative perspective. No, he doesn't. And is a published novelist. Now that he is. Conservative perspective, no. If you know who he was. But anyway, the article originally appeared on St. Cloud Times. Look. If somebody came and took away something that belongs to the United States, let's say, I know you bought Alaska, but we taking it back. Or name a country outside of the continental United States that fly the United States flag. Puerto Rico. Name one. Costa Rica. Pick one. Now, we're not as grand as Great Britain, is with that, because even though their power and peerage has shrank, still the sun never sets on the British Empire. That island nation is way more powerful politically and financially than anybody. Even, I bet you, even some of the Brits, some of the Britons. Yes, that's what they were. The Britons, Britons, Britons. I bet you even some of the young Britons don't know the power and the grandeur of the country that they live in. I do, but I'm a historical kind of guy. Look, you let something, okay, let's leave the United States out of it. Let's leave the United States out of it. I'll use the Britons. All right, look what happened when Gualtieri pulled that suckhead stunt in the Falkland Islands. Maggie over lunch today sent a it's a song from Pink Floyd. Y'all should know that Brezhnev took Afghanistan and Begin took Beirut. Gualtieri took the Union Jack. And Maggie over lunch one day sent a cruiser with all hands apparent to make them give it back. That's actually on the album, on the Final Cut album. Brezhnev, of course, Leonid Brezhnev, when they invaded Afghanistan and was there for 10 years, and we know how that went. And Begin took Beirut, Menachem Begin. I'm giving y'all a history lesson here. Gualtieri took the Union Jack. I said, and most of the people of the Falklands they wanted to stay under British rule. There's a lot of nations, a lot of countries that will, some of them wanted to get from under British rule. Some of them like, no. And now there's lots of them. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. That are like, damn, we should have stayed under the freaking crown. Too late. Yeah, too late. Hey, another one is Singapore. No, it's not Singapore. What is it? They're in China. Beijing. It's not Beijing. I'm having a brain cramp. Dang it. Hong Kong. Man, what is wrong with my brain? Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Now, a lot of people are happy. A lot of them ain't. Because when Hong Kong was under the crown, all the saber rattling from, the Chinese governments around them, they didn't dare. They didn't dare. Don't take that little island nation. Well, they're a shell of their former self. I'll leave it like that. They're a shell of their former self, just like we are. I'm going to stop right there before I get into my preacher mode. And I don't mean religious preaching. That's not what I mean. Let's see. I think Putin is sick. I think he got something medically wrong with him, but I can't prove it. I was looking at a video like he couldn't keep his foot still while he was sitting there talking to, what's his name? Kashenko? Not Kashenko. Yeah, when you got skin in the game, man, that changes everything. Y'all be good and be safe. Bye.